Hello there and welcome to Ottawa Experts. I'm Moira and I'm a hypnotherapist and a life coach. I specialise in stress management and helping people with mindfulness. It's my passion to help people get unstuck by changing their mindset, increasing success and decreasing their any kind of stresses. I don't know about you, but it seems to have taken a long time for spring to arrive this year, but now it's here. Have you got a plan in place to make the most of the cleansing and the cleaning energy that spring can bring? Today I've got two really special guests with me, and we're going to discuss some ideas to help you cleanse and clear on a mental, emotional and physical level. So my first guest is Jennifer Dawson. Jennifer helps you to lose clutter and gain clarity. Welcome, Jennifer.
Thank you.
And my second guest is Jacqueline Richards, accredited mortgage professional and author. Thanks. I really appreciate you guys coming because, like I said, the idea for me for spring is cleansing and clearing. And so I think that both of you have some really good ways of discussing that. So I want to go to Jennifer first because Jennifer is an organizer, and I think that I don't know about you, but spring cleaning kind of comes on the top of the list. Whether you do it or not is the next thing.
That's the key. That's the key for sure. Organizing is in the springtime particularly way on the top of people's agenda, and certainly even in my own life, I spent the day today polishing the floor. So as soon as you're able to fling open those windows and let the fresh air come in and all that sort of stale, horrible winter air. It's just been such a long winter that...
Oh, you thought so too?
Yes, I did.
Well, it was a long winter. It just felt like spring was just never going to get here. And then, of course, it's here and it's fast. It's like, wow, we're almost in May even. Mm-hmm. So, Jennifer, what kind of tips would you give somebody? Like sometimes I can look at cleansing project and feel overwhelmed. What kind of tips would you give somebody to break that down and make it a wee bit less of a challenge?
I really try to work with my clients and people who follow me on Facebook and chunk things into smaller pieces. Projects can seem overwhelming, and if things have really gotten out of control, it's very difficult for people to all they can see is the whole picture instead of all the tiny pieces. So normally what we do is we swing through the room working left from right and top to bottom and try and stick with one area at a time.
I like that idea, kind of like a grid.
If you don't have a grid, you start doing the bunny trail and hopping around the room and not really accomplishing much. So if you choose an area to start, keep your focus and work on that area. And it's really helpful as well if people go into the project with the right tools. So having some boxes for what you're going to keep, what you're going to donate, maybe things that belong in another room rather than running around and putting them away right away, just put them in a goes elsewhere box.
Perfect.
And things that you're going to let go of. So having a little action plan before you start and then chunking it out.
Absolutely. No, I really like that. As a hypnotherapist, that's pretty much what I would be teaching people as in any kind of goals is that you have to get the preparation steps in place, and then chunking it down is so true that if it's not conceivable to you that you can actually get there, it's going to feel overwhelming. So I love what you've just said there. That's awesome.
Thank you.
And Jacqueline, what about you? What does spring feel like to you? What does that make your attention turn to?
Well, appreciating the industry that I work within. So I'm a mortgage consultant, a mortgage agent, and my clients, as soon as they see the snow leave, they see grass.
Yes.
And so they see the grass and all of a sudden it's, oh, the things I didn't do, I forgot to rake. Yeah, you know what, I'm sure I have bulbs to put in. Yeah, it'd be nice to have a really nice garden this year. And then they see the sidewalk and think, wow, there's a lot of stuff that I didn't get done on the inside, right? So it's how many things do I continue to accumulate? And sometimes it means we accumulate items. Sometimes we accumulate poundage. And so my clients, I ask them, take a big deep breath, because probably at the beginning of the year you had an idea of where you wanted to be with regard to your money and the status of your money.
Yes.
Take a peek at what your budget looks like. We're in our first quarter.
Yeah, this is the beginning
and so,
of this second one now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at it. most of the time when you can see the grass and you see sidewalks, you may want to relocate locations. So maybe it's a good time to go shopping on MLS. Maybe it's a good time to think of repair and restore. It might be a place where I think I'd like to buy that cottage now.
Right.
Because I love my home, but
Yes.
maybe I'd like to
Like
have a
having-
cottage.
yeah.
So now we're looking at bigger picture items.
Yep.
And my suggestion is take a look at what you started out with in the beginning of the year. Celebrate what you've done so far,
A very important part.
but take another peek. There's little steps, as you say, right?
That's so important, is the little steps. I think that the little steps are crucial, but you have to have that overriding main vision, right? So with what you just said, is that you have to have the vision of where do you want to be, like at retirement, or where do you want to be in 5 years, for instance, and just put it out there, but then do exactly what both of you have just talked about, is the chunking it down, taking the baby step. But I loved what you brought in there too, is the patting yourself on the back.
Yeah.
That must be a big part of what your approach is too, Jennifer.
Yeah, we do. We celebrate all of the accomplishments.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's difficult on a big project for people to remember
Yeah.
how bad things were. So I actually take photos and send them to them along the way,
nice.
especially if they're at a phase where maybe they're beating themselves up and they don't feel like they accomplished a lot in a particular day. Because you go from doing all the big stuff to doing the smaller pieces.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
just a couple of weeks ago, I sent my client a little video to show where we started and where we're at. You know, and when we started, it took X amount of hours to do one room, and now we can do the entire house top to bottom in the same amount of time it used to take one room. So she was able to see victory
Yeah.
over time,
Yeah.
when sometimes we forget that.
No, and I really like
to
that.
pat ourselves.
Because that's obviously a really important part of your way of coaching, because in my practice it's the same thing too, and Jacqueline, you must find this, is that when a person has their attention really stuck on that end goal, like I said, like the 5-year goal or something, and they keep saying on a daily basis or a weekly or monthly, and they can't see it, it feels like almost sometimes the gap is widening. But when you sit down, and I love that you're taking pictures, that's really important, it's tangible. But in my practice, when I'm sitting and talking to people, it's like, well, you know, look at what you've done, or you know, pat yourself on the back and just sit and look in the mirror. And maybe it is that they've lost weight and they forgot to say, oh, actually I lost 5 pounds, or you know, I haven't lost the 20, but I have lost 5 kind of attitude. So that's the part too, is to be really nurturing to your own self with expectations, right? How do you help people get into more of that at their own pace kind of mindset, Jacqueline?
I love this. So it could be 60 days, 90 days. It could be, let's take a look at it in and around November. How are you feeling about where you're at? And even more so, how do the people around you sense that you are feeling?
Yeah.
We know, or we can feel how people are assessing their own status. If I ask you, be in touch, or I'll be in touch with you, this is what I've done previously, I'll be in touch with you in 30 days. And you said you wanted to accumulate this much savings because you have a goal in mind. And it's not necessarily another home, it's I needed to pay out some debt.
Right.
Credit cards are interesting on the best of days. So how far have you gotten with paying out? And while we were together on a home purchase, I haven't forgotten who you are. And so now in 30 days, how far have you gotten? Do you need some help?
Yeah.
And sometimes we need to ask and be okay to ask for help.
That's important. Absolutely.
Then maybe it's a project. Maybe it's about a vision board, because people continue to hear, you know what, it would be great if I could see where I'm going. And you know all about this. And when we can see it, we can talk about it, but when we see it every day, this is where I wanted to go. So Jacqueline called me in 30 days. Now she's going to call me in another 30 days. How far did I get?
Yeah.
So.
Absolutely. And that's the accountability piece, that somebody checking over. But I like what you said about the helping them see it, to do, you know, a 30-day check-in. Do you, Jennifer, do you do that kind of approach too? Like, say, here's your homework kind of idea, and then check back in?
It completely depends on the client, but I do have one that I send her little reminders. You know, are you using your day planner today?
Okay.
You know, did you make the beds, and did you get the dishes into the sink?
Yeah.
And just little reminders, and just to let them know that I haven't forgotten about them just because I'm not there.
Yeah.
You know, between the days, you know, they're still on my mind and I still think about them. But I really love that you do that, a follow-up with your clients, because it could be a year before it could turn into an actual client for you, but you're showing them that love and that caring throughout the process, and they know that they're more than just a number. And I hope that the people that I work with also know that they're more than just a client, that I actually care.
I know, for me too,
deeply for them.
And I do that too, and I've been known to just suddenly somebody will pop into my head, and I'll reach out, and just because sometimes they just need to. I've had a few times where I've done that I've suddenly thought of somebody that I might not have worked with for like a year or more, and just said, hey, how's everything going? And I actually had a really impactful response back, was because this person was derailing. And I was about to start smoking again. It was somebody who'd quit smoking, and so I like, as a professional, I like to just go with my gut feeling. When do I check in? But I also have systems for when I'm working with clients, and I love to teach and give nuggets. And I know, Jennifer, you do that on Facebook too. It's like the little tips and organizational. You're great on Facebook too. You put questions out there, and I think that that just helps people feel heard and seen. And I think in all three of our areas that we touch people's lives, it's important to help them see it. It is possible. It is possible.
Well, and certainly on Facebook, there's a lot of people on the Facebook page that perhaps couldn't afford to have a professional come in and help them get organized, but by putting little tips on the Facebook page every day, it gives them something that they can go and strive towards 5 minutes at a time. Over a year creates momentum and movement and achievement and success, whereas, you know, not everyone can afford to have a professional come in.
Exactly, and I'm the same way, which is why I like to do that positive. I do card readings on my Facebook fan page too.
But what's great is they can send a message to you, just to you.
Yes.
And they feel so comfortable with some of the information you've provided, some of the comments you've made back, the conversations that you have out in the open publicly. But they know that they can always come back to you and just ask you a specific question.
Yes. Yeah. That's I actually love social media for that, and I love exactly what you said, that not everybody can afford any of our services, but to know that there's somewhere to reach to, so that they don't have to go and you know how, Jacqueline, you said it earlier about asking for help. Well, what better place to go than, like you said, you can actually, and people have done that a number of times to me, is ask for specific, Moira, I've got such and such a issue going. Give me some advice, please. Amazing. You know, and it's just fabulous to be able to have that level of interaction. Sometimes these people end up becoming clients over a period of time, and other times they just kind of pop in and out. And it's just, for me, I'm serving the highest good. I think that's what we're all doing, is just, this is my passion, is to help people change their mindset and feel better about themselves. And I know people must feel so good after having some feedback or interaction for, you know, their orderliness in their home or organizing. And the same with the money management and I mean, talking to you must always make people feel like things could be fun.
And it's possible.
It's possible.
And that's really what we're all laying out here. It is absolutely possible, as long as you believe that you can.
That's right.
And sometimes it's a a message, a question, a phone call. And sometimes it starts with, a friend of mine has a question.
I love that one.
Yeah.
That was very cool. Anyways, that's awesome information. Come back after the break and we are going to chat some more about setting goals and staying on track with, we're actually going to talk a wee bit about New Year's resolutions of all things. Tune in after the break. We'll see you in a minute.